Red Rage, toothless, was closer than Hiccup realised. Red Rage had entirely overtaken him, like a powerful drug takes hold of her feeble mind. The ancient, primeval anger of the wild world took him over so crazily that he lost his sight in the dizzying force of it, and it numbed the sensible parts of his brain. What sensible parts, their word. Darling Toothless. Drunk with power and fury, he attacked the discarded shoe of a fleeing Viking under the misguided belief that it was a real human child. Red Rage, he squeaked, ripping out the shoelaces. Red Rage, he screamed, shredding the leather into tangled rags of ribbons. Hunt the human and throw him to the fire, he screeched as he tore out the soul and blasted it with flames. What was it about Hiccup's voice that cut through the fog of fury and made Toothless turn and stare, his mouth full of smoking shoe leather? The mist of the red rage that had descended on the little dragon lifted as if by magic. Toothless turned. He dropped the shoe. He flew to where Hiccup was standing, bound with ropes. Toothless! Exclaimed Hiccup. Quick! Bite my ropes and find the Windwalker. Do that, grumbled the little dragon. Toothless, not your servant. But he bit through the ropes with one quick snap of his sharp little jaws, and he flew to find the Windwalker with none of his usual laziness. Oh, good, look, it overtook him. But Toothless he's means so well, you know, so it wouldn't take hold of him for very long. The Windwalker was flying around in confused circles some distance away, searching for Hiccup. The Red Rage had not taken him over, but it had thoroughly disorientated him, interrupting his radar. And what with that and the smoke and dodging the arrows and spears, he was looping the loop and bumping into other dragons and accidentally chasing his own tail. Hiccup needs us, squeaked Toothless, forgetting to be cool, and the Windwalker followed the little dragon, weaving expertly through the aerial battlefield, and crash-landed beside Hiccup in an untidy scramble. Oh, look, there's a really sweet little bird just outside my window. Oh, sorry, I got distracted just there. Oh, what are you bothering? We don't need him. I knew I wasn't wrong about you, exclaimed the Rage Raven's Dragon Delight. You are the air after all. But Hiccup's view from the Windwalker's back as the dark dragon swam higher and higher through the air gave him a full view of the desperate tragedy of the situation. The castle was collapsing even further now, caving in on itself, crumbling into the great hole in the centre caused by the eruption of the Dragon Furious. The great dragon himself was right in the centre, breathing out flame almost continuously. Practically all the warriors of the archipelago had gathered at the castle, don't forget, so they were a mighty army indeed, and they were fighting back the dragons with enormous bravery. To the left, he could see Snotlout, admittedly fighting with terrific stealth skill and valour, because he is very brave, Snotlout, admittedly fighting with his terrific skill and valour, urging on the hooligans as if he were chief already. And the centre was the fiercest fighting, but there was Alvin the treacherous, and the majority of dragons were trying to get hold of the sword Endeavour. Alvin was surrounded by a ring of tribesmen, fighting to defend their new king, and he was giving a good account of himself, the Stormblade fixed into his attachment, the Endeavour in the other hand. To the right, the bog burglars had got hold of a catapult and were constantly reloading, blasting great holes in the dragon attack. Things were looking dreadful nonetheless. The casualties on both sides were horrific in number, and the Vikings were losing. They could see that, but they were unprepared, and they had no means of joining in the aerial combat now their own dragons had deserted them. The Red Rage was terrifyingly loud now, a dreadful drumming sound that no human being should ever have to hear, a jungle noise that chilled the blood and choked the heart and set the hairs on the scalp tingling with electric horror. They're going to destroy each other, thought Hiccup. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I'm just one person. What can I do? Into Hiccup's frazzled brain there floated old Wrinkly's words. I love old Wrinkly. And then the world will need a hero, and it might as well be you. Windwalker, Hiccup whispered into his White Riding Dragon's ear. Windwalker, head towards that patch of light over there. There was a small clearing in the cloud, and narrowly missing a couple of arrows, Windwalker flew right into it. All around was blackness and smoke, but in that tiny patch of bright blue sky, the sun glinted dazzlingly off Windwalker's shining wings and Hiccup's dragon-skin farsuit so that they were clearly visible from down below. A ray blinked down into Kamikaze Eye, and Kamikaze saw him, though she was fighting hard, and despite the fact that you could only see the outline of a human mounted on a dragon's back, she knew that it was him. Hiccup, she whispered with passionate relief, forgetting that he had the slave mark and just grateful he was there. Hiccup, he's going to save us. I know he will. He'll have some clever plan. To tell the truth, Hiccup had absolutely no plan at all. But as he hung there in the crack of light, the only piece of hope in a dark and dreadful world, a glimmer of an idea popped into his head. Dragons, yelled Hiccup, dragons! Forget about the sword, for I have the jewel already in my hand. He held up his clenched fist over his head. Dragons' hearing is so acute that they can hear the nano-dragons laughing to one another in the grasses. They heard this all right. Slowly the Dragon Furious turned his mighty head towards the boy, as if he were an annoying insect buzzing above his head. The dragon's jaws were already dipped scarlet with human blood, his eyes narrowed. Truth or lies? It's not true, he hissed. Not true, the boy lies. I know it by my own forked tongue. He narrowed his eyes further, squinting. Beyond the light, beyond the boy, seeking into the future, his mind processing the possibilities like an endless game of chess. Something that he saw there made him hiss. And yet... Catch the boy! Screamed the Dragon Furious. Chase him! Hunt him! Tear him from the sky! Whatever you do, don't let him get away! 1,000 dragons paused and held there for 1,000 dragons, turned their head and their narrowing yellow, green and blue cat's eyes and focused them on the boy like they were arrows. And he was the target. Toothless, hovering some considerable distance above Hiccup's head, gave a yelp of horror, put his little claws together as if it was praying, folded back his wings and dived 10 feet downwards into the front of Hiccup's shirt, joining the Windfang down there. Fly, Windwalker! Hiccup whispered into the Windwalker's ear. Fly, Windwalker, fly! Fly like you've never flown before. So the next chapter is called 23. It's called Fly.